The music business is dead. We are now in the media business. And the people who are playing the media game right, sooner or later wake up and realize they have built a brand. If I'm posting 3 times a day, my music, my lifestyle, my story, before I know it, I've not only shaped people's ideas of me, but I've built a following of people who share my ideas. Now the question becomes, what do I do with this brand, this influence, this audience, this power? That's what you are here today to learn in this course. So what is a brand? Let me read you the definition. Your brand is the emotional, psychological connection your customers have with you. It's their collective perception and impression of you. Branding is the act of shaping that perception, which is essential if you want to compete in your industry category. So again, a brand is your emotional and psychological connection that your customers have with you. So what does that mean for you, right? You as an artist. So if we understand that branding is shaping the perception of the way people view you, and the definition of branding itself says that that's essential for you guys to stand out in your industry category, where your category is artists. Everyone watching this does some form of art, right? So if you want to stand out as an artist, you have to become a brand and you have to brand yourself. You have to begin branding immediately, starting today, right? You have to begin shaping people's perception of you. So to stand out in your category, what is your category? Your category is artist. So take a second and think about this. What do your fans think of you? What is their perception of you? Do your fans know anything about you other than music? Do they think you're kind or you're sweet? Do they think you're caring or you're giving? Take a second and think about this. What's their perception of you? Do they even know that you're good at anything else other than music? Do they know about anything in your life other than music? Just take a second, pause this video and think, what do my fans think about me? What's their perception of me? Now, if you cannot answer that question, what that means is you don't have a brand. And so we're going to change that in this course. We're going to begin to build you a brand. Let me say it where you can read it. Building a brand. That's what we're going to do for you. So your fans now have the perfect perception that you created for them. Because you're just learning what a brand is, I want to break down why the brand is important. You have to understand this you have to have a vision. You have to understand this and have a vision if you want to go about creating a brand. So let's start with, why is the brand important? So why is having a brand important? Well, the number one reason is a brand separates you. You have to be able to create a connection with your fans in order to make them fall in love with you. That's what branding does. It shapes their perception of you, especially in streaming. In streaming, they can only listen to one song at a time. So why should that song be yours? Outside of the quality of music, the number one factor for that song being yours is their connection to you. You have to have a brand to separate you from the next artist, because if they love your brand, they're going to listen to your music. Branding is all about making the fan fall in love with you. I'll give you a perfect example. Cardi B has built a brand, right? Cardi B was a stripper that turned into a rapper. Nowadays, that's normal. When she did it, she was the first to do it. So that built a brand for her. But the thing about it is, Cardi B's music isn't always the greatest. But guess what? Because I love Cardi B and her brand, when she drops new music, I'm going to listen to it. So that's why you want to build that connection to begin to separate you from other artists. So that separator, when people have to make that choice, is going to be your brand. Do I listen to artist A or artist B? I'm going to listen to the person who has a brand that I stronger connect with. Another great thing you have to understand about a brand separating you, and just you separating yourself in general, it's very hard to be different until you realize your success depends on it. What a brand is going to do for you is going to highlight your differences. It's going to say, hey, this is what separates me from them. Everybody's an artist. Everybody you know is an artist. Everybody raps, everybody sings. But what separates you? And what separates you is your differences. So you begin to build your brand on your differences. You have to know what's different about you is what's going to make you great. So don't shy away from differences. In this, when I'm building a brand, I want to show how different I am. I don't want to hide my differences. So the number one reason for building a brand is to separate yourself, make people have that connection with you based on what's different about you. The number two reason for building a brand is to attract like-minded people. Think about this. When election day comes, who are you going to vote for? You're going to vote for the person that you share the most ideas with. All a brand does is it separates you so that people can choose you. You want to, it helps people know who to choose. I go out and promote what I stand for as a politician so that people understand that and will vote for me. Well, being an artist is the same thing. You have to go out on what you stand for, that so that people will know, okay, this is the artist that I rock with. This is the artist who I share ideas with. You attract like-minded people. Your brand has to be built on your differences, and your differences will attract the people who relate to those differences. Those people who relate to your differences will begin to be your army, your supporters, your consumers. You build a brand so that you can build that army of supporters and consumers. So I show them my differences, they attract to me, and then we go to part three, which is the most important part of building a brand, or why we build a brand. Actually, before we get to part three, I want to explain something to you guys. When we're talking about attracting like-minded people, how does that work? So you have to understand that social media runs on algorithms. That means the algorithm is going to show me things that I like. So if I'm constantly liking pictures of beautiful women, guess what? My algorithm is going to be, my timeline is going to be full of beautiful women because the algorithm is going to keep showing me what I like. If I'm into horseback riding, my timeline is going to keep showing me things about horses. So if I put out there that, hey, I'm a fantastic cowboy, I ride horses, I raise horses, guess what's going to happen? Everybody out there in the world that loves cowboys, that loves horses, their timeline is going to begin to receive my content. And so that's how you attract like-minded people. You build a brand to attract like-minded people, but just in case you were wondering how does that happen, your content that you put out, the algorithm is going to show that content to people who enjoy that type of content. Now let's go into number three. The most important reason to build a brand is because brands sell product. Now everything we do ends with monetization because we're here to make a living. Yes, we love art. Yes, we love being an artist, but we can't continue to do art and we can't make a living off of our art. We have to be able to make a living off of it. And so one of the best things you can do to begin to jumpstart your career and get your career going in the right direction is to build a brand because brand sells products. So think about it like this. Let's put it in order. I began to tell what's different about me. I began to separate myself. That's how I began building my brand. When I began showing, hey, this is different. I don't just do music. I also love horseback riding. When I begin to show that, it's going to attract like-minded people. These people who also love horseback riding will hear my music and be like, man, they make really great music. I love listening to their music because we're into the same thing. Now that I've attracted these like-minded people by showing how different I am, guess what? I can now sell them things that go along with the reason they attracted me for the first place. If I love horseback riding, I can now sell them, horse gear, horse shoes, horse feed, everything that has to do with what we both enjoy, what we are like-mindedness, right? So you may say, well, why do brands sell products? Because I've now built this community of like-minded people. I've now created this space, this network of a group of like-minded people. Well, by doing that, I have made myself a community leader, a group leader. So what does that mean? That means that they look to me and they say, hey, you're an expert in this field. What do you recommend? And whatever I recommend, guess what? They'll go out and purchase it because they look at me as a leader in this field. So when you create a brand, you're saying, hey, I stand for this. Hey, I'm a leader in this. Hey, I'm very good at this. You're going to create a perception for them that, hey, they know what they're talking about. They're a leader in this field. They've built this great community. So now, whatever they recommend that has to do with this field, guess what? I'm going to buy it from them. You know what I mean? So what does that mean for me as a brand? Well, number one, I can now create my own products that have to go with what I built this community around. Or another brand can come to me and say, hey, I see you have a community. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep using an example. I see you have a community of horseback riders. Well, man, we make the perfect saddle. Would you mind sharing this with your community and we'll give you a commission? So now not only can I create my own products inside of this community, I can sell other products that match the vibe of this community. That's why becoming a brand is so important because, listen, we're here to sell music, yes, but we're here to make money overall. And so as a brand, I can not only sell music, I can sell everything else that coincides with my brand. And just to make sure you understand why this relates to music, let's make it more realistic to a hip hop artist, right? If I'm a rapper and I'm really into cars, right? I really love cars. And I make this song 0 to 60 because I built this brand on being a great rapper that's also into cars. Guess what's going to happen when I release 0 to 60? Every person in my community that loves cars is going to use this song. They're going to listen to this song. So now that's how I sell my music as a part of my brand. I make music that matches my brand. So let's just run back through it one last time. We are building a brand. We're going to talk about this in next week's class. How do we build that brand? But I wanted you to understand why this brand is so crucial. And it comes down to three things. It comes down to you have to be able to separate yourself. You have to give people a reason to listen to you over listening to somebody else, a reason to buy from you over buying from somebody else. You separate yourself by showing them what's different about you. Then, after you've separated yourself, that content that you put out that's showing why you're different is going to attract like-minded people. You're going to begin building an army, a navy. You know how Rihanna has a navy? You're going to begin building your navy. You're going to begin building your army, your community of people who share that same ideas as you. Their perception of you has been shaped at this point, right? Now that I have this perception of who this person is, they're a leader in this, they're an authority in this, I can begin to sell them products in the area that I am an authority in, including my music. If they think I make the best R&B music for people who are in love versus people who are toxic, right? Everybody in R&B is toxic. Well, I'm making music for people who are in love. I'm an authority in that space. They're going to listen to me. Or I'm an authority in baby making music. A lot of people don't make baby making music no more. But hey, that's part of my brand. I am a sex symbol, right? That's part of my brand. Guess what? They're going to listen to my baby making music over anybody else's music. So you begin to build that brand so you can sell products. But guess what? Not only am I selling my baby making music, I'm now selling baby oil, candles, condoms, because I am a brand about baby making. I'm a brand about making love. So I can sell all these products. So that's how I begin to monetize on my world, my community. That's why building a brand is so important. If people don't have a perception of you, if they don't know you're good at anything other than music, you have not built a brand. And so we're going to be building a brand inside of the 1%. That's the only way I can get you to become the 1% is by having you be a brand. So I'll see you guys this Thursday. We're going to discuss building a brand. And next week, we're going to discuss your brand keys. Those are the things that help make you a brand. So I'll see you guys Thursday. And then I'll see you back here next week to talk about brand keys.